Today we are back here at Trinity Cathedral to register our anthem, Samuel Sebastian Wesley's Lead Me, Lord, here on the front organ on the Aeolian Skinner. So let's talk a little bit about the Aeolian Skinner. In the front of the cathedral nave, we have an even larger instrument, though you have to look carefully to see it. Inside the walls of the choir, you'll find a newly installed instrument which uses pipework from an Aeolian Skinner organ originally built for a church in Richmond, Virginia in 1949, as well as pipework from a Skinner organ originally built for a church here in Cleveland in 1916. Together, these resources give us a wonderful palette of sound that displays some of the best of American organ building from the early 20th century. This instrument has 4 manuals and a more modernized console with combination action, which allows us to change stops simultaneously by using these buttons called pistons. This is extremely useful when accompanying, especially in more intricate pieces that call for many changes of color and texture. The main manual is the great, which is the second from the bottom. This division has some of the strongest registers of the instrument and is wonderfully designed for congregational accompaniment. The swell division is played from the third manual from the bottom. The pipes are located directly behind the grate and are wonderfully diverse and colorful, with stops ranging from strings, flutes, diapasons, and colorful reeds. The solo division is played from the top manual and contains some of the most colorful, commanding stops of the organ. Though the pipes are located in the very back of the chamber behind the swell, great care must be taken, as it is easy to overwhelm the listener with some of its sounds. And lastly, the choir division is located on the other side of the chancel and is played from the bottommost manual. This division is very colorful, flexible, and contains the most delicate sounds of the instrument. Now let's evaluate the instrument according to the questions we asked earlier. Evaluate the organ's potential to carry sound. The instrument has a large number of stops and a variety of color options that combine to make interesting combinations. It is well voiced for the room, with the sound of even the smallest flute carrying through the room. The instrument also has very delicate sounds that are designed to play at the quietest level possible. The instrument also has 3 manuals that are under expression, where the pipes are housed behind shades that can be opened or closed for dynamic and color effect. The sound blooms as it travels through the room and surrounds the listener with sound, though there are some sounds and divisions that speak into the room more readily than others. Evaluate the tone quality of the organ. The individual stops range from transparent to rich and complex, and are flexible enough to create a wide variety of interesting combinations on each manual. Take note of the location of the pipes for each division. The organ is situated in the chancel or choir area of the cathedral, filling that area with sound before speaking into the nave of the cathedral. The great division is the most prominently situated, speaking directly into the nave through this opening. All of the pipes are in direct proximity to the choir in the chancel, with many of the great pipes speaking in front of the choir. The organ will always surround the choir with sound, but also gives us the opportunity to use sound antiphonally or from either side of the chancel. Now that we're a bit more familiar with this instrument, we can begin registering the anthem. We already know that the anthem is in 2 sections. Each section starts with a solo, which is then repeated by the choir in harmony. I've decided here on the Aeolian Skinner that I'm going to use the choir division, which is here above my head, for the solo, and I'm going to use a combination of the choir and the swell together for the full choir sound. The swell is on the opposite side of the chancel. So that way we get the sound of the complete organ going out into the nave when the choir sings. So on the choir, I have 2 string stops, 2 very quiet string stops, the Unda Maris and the Dulciana for the choir. And that gets very quiet, which should work very well for our soloist. I can open it up a little bit if it's not enough sound. On the swell, I have the 8-foot roar flute and the viola da gamba for the sound of the complete choir, which we're going to combine with the choir manual on the grate to sound like this. Some body to the sound, but it's not too overwhelming. I can always open my box even a little bit more if we need just a bit more sound. On the pedal, I'm accompanying that with a 16-foot Borden for just, I think, a little bit more roundness to the bottom of the tone. A 16-foot quintadena that's borrowed from the choir, and a 16-foot Wargadek that's borrowed from the swell, as well as coupling both manuals to the choir. And I think that should give us quite a bit of sound. If I feel like I need more, for example, as we get towards the end of the piece, I can always open the box. And you'll really have to judge your balance once the choir is actually singing. Because of where the console here is located, you're not going to have a good idea of what that sounds like. So again, depend on the conductor to help you out with that. And remember as well, the most important sound we need to hear is the sound of the choir and of the words of the choir. We want to enhance and envelop them, but not overwhelm them, which is why we're kind of staying out of the way a little bit in this piece, but providing some color and some support for them. So now you understand how to register this lovely piece of music on two completely different types of instrument. On a more Baroque style instrument that is mechanical action, and on a more eclectic American style instrument that is perhaps a bit more orchestral in its tonal palette. Hopefully these suggestions will help you as you go forward and begin accompanying on your own on many different types of instruments with many different types of repertoire. As always, happy practicing.